Hey, Scoob! It's Three Wise Radio!
You used to have, like, the big book of Wonder Woman in front of you? Yes, he does.
Here's my book. It's bigger than yours.
Hey, this is research, and it's research how it used to be done with books, and it belongs in a museum and smells, and yeah, it's stuff like that. Cool.
What side are you
That book-
arguing on?
No one's in particular.
That book isn't old enough to smell yet, so there's something wrong there.
10 years old. 10 years old is old enough to smell.
Yeah, if you spill some shit on it.
It's a very, very spilly book. All right.
Or something like ramen.
When's the last time you bought ramen?
Years.
Yeah, I haven't bought it in a long time. I think it means I'm going places.
I mean, I like go to like ramen shops,
Right,
but
that's
way different.
With
Joe,
one.
ramen?
Oh, Christ. Probably Cape.
Okay, look at us. We're all
8
doing
years.
so well.
Yeah.
Cape Fear. His at-home screening of Cape Fear
Yes.
yesterday. That's what got it.
Right.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's a good griller tradition.
Welcome to Three Wise Radio, a podcast where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joe Greller. I am joined as usual by Garrett Welker and Sam Pixley. How are you this week, guys, on this fine early June week?
it's pretty humid right now, Joe. I'll be honest. Feeling really toasty right now.
Humid and toasty are two different things. Humid says you're wet. Toasty says you're warm.
I can be both.
Warm and wet.
They're not
at the same
exclusive.
time.
Then you're damp, in my personal opinion. But
It's probably just because there's an extra person in the room, so it's a little more body heat.
Yeah.
And that extra person is none other than Movieverse's own Charlie Pixley, because it is, in fact, a DC universe, a DC extended universe, or cinematic universe. What's the correct title?
Extended universe.
Extended universe. Well, there we go.
See you.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I think they like that so they don't say DCCU.
DCCU at the theater.
Yeah.
See,
cool.
this stuff
See
writes
you later.
itself. But anyway, Charlie Pixley is joining us this week because of Wonder Woman. You know what? In the vein of movie verses, I'll say it myself. What's up, Chuck? How are you?
I'm all right. Ready to talk about this movie.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later, as we will be doing one of our point fives and spoilers cast on Saturday. But
Cool.
this issue will basically be about the history of Wonder Woman and taking you through and getting to know the hero a little bit better, because while she is the first and original female superhero and been around since 1940, you probably don't know as much about the hero as you actually think you do. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But first and foremost, some headlines, starting with the Nintendo Switch is looking to get into some virtual games. However, they're not going to possibly do it on the Switch console. If they're going to get in the virtual world, it will be on a console that's after the Switch console, they said, considering that the Switch is going back to more of a classic gaming platform for them. So you're going to see more Mario and Zelda and basically all the games Nintendo normally makes, but in a more classic version is how they're saying it.
What does that mean?
It means that they're going to have it's a paid online service. So you can download Super Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, you can download Tetris, Legends of Zelda, and it is the platform that's going to replace the what's the one everyone plays? That's the handheld one now.
The 3DS.
Yeah, it's going to replace the 3DS.
Yeah, because the 3DS does have like an online market where it's just like a ton of games you can download from the past, and
That's cool, I guess. I mean,
yeah, this thing is kind of like it's like a hybrid. The system's like a hybrid handheld console /
yeah.
not console, but at the same time you can play it at home. But it's really weird. I don't know. I don't understand the Switch personally, and all they have to do to make the Switch popular is have Pokemon come out on it.
Or Smash Bros.
Smash Bros. If you can download Smash Bros, that'd be fine. But the only thing keeping the 3DS alive is that it's the only place where people can actually still play
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure.
Apart from that,
Is that the only reason you play a handheld console at all? Is Pokemon?
yeah, pretty much. Other than that, I have a phone which has games on it.
What is it about Pokemon? We had Pokemon Go, and that was on a phone. So what is it about Pokemon that brings you back at least to the 3DS or a handheld console?
Because the gameplay of it, I actually like leveling up a Pokemon. Whereas with Pokemon Go, you just have it.
Yeah.
You can't really do much with it, but you get to do battles and stuff like that. It's that genre of game, which is the Pokemon genre.
The Pokemon genre? It's a card game to a certain extent, basically, right?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, sort of. I don't know. It just keeps me coming back.
Hey, fair enough. And we'll all come back to Top Gun, but it won't be called Top Gun 2. An interview with Access Hollywood, Tom Cruise revealed that he didn't want a number after the title. You don't need a number after the title. You're right, Tom. Like the last 5 Mission Impossibles didn't need a number after the title. But apparently Top Gun's in a league of its own. So the sequel will be called Top Gun Maverick. And if you actually get a chance to watch this interview, I highly recommend it because it is some of Cruise at his swaggy douchiest.
Cruisiest.
There you go, his cruisiest. Basically, the guy is trying to pump him for any information whatsoever, and all Cruise does is keep repeating himself and smiling that great Tom Cruise smile that he has.
God.
Top Gun Maverick, yay or nay?
He keeps saying like, it's coming out. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's like, when? It's going to happen.
So you've seen the interview?
Yeah, it's electric.
Yeah. At one point, the guy's like, drones?
The movie name Top Gun Maverick sounds like someone just took a game of Boggle and turned it into a movie title.
Yeah.
Personally, yes, me. I mean, I get it. He's Maverick, and Top Gun is the original movie, but there's just 3 words.
Yeah.
Should have been Rise of the Dawn of Goose.
I was going to say, everybody's going to be
Return
seeing
of
this
Goose.
movie. I don't think Val Kilmer's coming back.
I'm pretty sure only Tom Cruise is coming back.
Well, the other guy's dead, right?
Wonderful.
Goose? Yeah, Goose. That's the whole point of Top Gun halfway through. Goose dies.
The whole point of Top Gun is that he dies.
Yes, because then Tom Cruise's character
seen it.
grows. In my defense, I have not seen it in quite some time because it's not it's not a movie I like.
The whole point was looking cool riding motorcycles.
And playing
jets.
volleyball.
Yeah, I'm playing volleyball shirtless and jets. And Val Kilmer chomping his mouth at Tom Cruise half the time.
In defense of the titles of these movies, it is Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3, but then after that, it is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Ah, okay.
Get rid of the numbers.
That's fair. All right.
So it's inconsistent there. Consistent in his titles of movies, I guess.
So when we have a Mummy 2, it won't be Mummy 2. It'll be Mummy Tom Cruise is still here or something.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, I do not think this movie needs to happen at all.
I think it could have happened. I think there was a time for it to happen. I think we're about almost 20 years past when it could have happened. You're talking about a movie that Top Gun is what? 90? It's over 30 years old.
Yeah.
I heard Tim Burton's going to direct it.
No, it's Scott again. Well, but it's going to be the other Scott because I'm pretty sure it was the Scott that killed himself was the one who directed the original.
Whoops.
So it's going to be Ridley, I'm pretty sure.
Should have been Uwe Boll.
In television news, you may have to wait an entire year before you can see the last season of Game of Thrones, as the last season is now possibly scheduled not to come out until 2019. An interview with Entertainment Weekly, HBO programming president Casey Boyles revealed that while nothing's set in stone yet, there's a chance fans will have to wait an extra year for the show's final season. It all depends on how much time the showrunners need to make season 8. And with the episodes becoming bigger and more expensive to make, even though there is less of them, there's a chance that they could be in production for up to 8 months once the season gets done being written. So
I haven't watched it, but I think from everybody that I know that has watched it, which is pretty much everybody that I know, they have built a big enough fan base that it doesn't matter how much time they're going to take. People are going to watch it. They'll just increase the pressure for it to be really great. But I think the people are going to stick around. I don't think anybody's going to be like, man, I guess I'm not going to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
It took an extra 8 months.
That's a long time. That's a 2-year wait.
But it's no different than like a movie. I mean, if you were waiting for a sequel to a movie.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, okay, Sam, they won you over with their sparkling dragons and personality. Tell me, are you hung up on this? Like, would this make you not want to watch the final season? Or you're the one who's also kind of being a little on the skeptical side for this?
No, I just think that's a long time to announce. I mean, honestly, I thought that they specifically shortened the seasons because they knew that each episode was going to be bigger and more of a big deal so that they could still remain consistent in the time frames. Like, I thought that was the whole point of almost cutting the show down in half.
Yeah.
From 10 episodes to 6 episodes. Or is it 7 and 6?
7 and 6.
7 and 6. So I thought that's the reason that they did that. But if that's not the case and they do need to push it back an extra, like, almost a year, then I'm just not really sure where the hang up is.
As far as the number of episodes, or as far as the hang up on
what the delay, why is the delay happening?
I mean, it takes time sometimes to think about it. You have movies like Man of Steel, which is shot in 2011 for a 2013 release. You know, bulk of Man of Steel was shot in 2013. You have these giant blockbuster movies that now almost go into principal photography and then go into post photography an entire year. And if you're talking as a big of a bang going out on Game of Thrones as people want to see, it's going to be a pretty CGI heavy final season with a lot of battles. So I can believe you may need a year of post to clean it all up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I think it's riskier for Westworld since they're taking so long, but they only have one season, so it's like some people might be like, just forget about it.
That I agree on. I think.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think HBO, it being HBO, if you're an HBO or Netflix series, I think you can do that because then it just pops up almost all at once, and you can still kind of gain the views on it. But if you're on normal TV, yeah, it's a death sentence.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It probably doesn't matter. I would just mean from like if it's to edit and stuff, I mean from the character standpoint, that sucks to be locked into something a year longer than you expected. But because honestly, like Garrett, we both watch the show. Mm-hmm. How often are you like, oh God, my life sucks because I can't watch Game of Thrones? Like I'll think about
Constantly.
it maybe like once a week. Like, oh hey, I'd love to see that, but I'm never like mad at anybody about it.
I'm never upset about it. If anything, like especially recently, I'll think about it and like, oh shit, Game of Thrones comes up again. Like, it just gets me excited now at this point instead of just like,
right.
Oh, I gotta
It's the
wait
same thing
again.
for me when the football season's over for like a week. Like, no, but then I move on with my life.
Yeah.
Gotcha. In other television news, Marvel's Punisher series premiere is going to be in November. Now, no official announcement has been made by Netflix, but in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Deborah Walsh, who directed an episode of Fargo, and also directed an episode of The Punisher, seemingly let slip when the series will debut on the streaming service. When asked if she'd ever been to Canada to shoot anything, because that's where she's shooting Fargo, or episodes of Fargo, she replied with she had only directed one other time in Canada, but that was for a North American television series, which is yet to air. The episode is set to air just before Christmas, but it's not airing until November. I directed that in New York and Canada and in LA. So,
Whoops.
Yep. I didn't even know that they had begun production on Punisher this yet. I knew it was like slated to come, but I didn't know we were already shooting.
Oh, I thought there had been some set photos. Maybe not.
Not a ton, but there have been some.
Yeah.
But it hasn't made like a big stir or anything.
Is there any chance that might be a stretch, but you know how Deadpool does those comics, which is like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, or Deadpool Illustrated. Is there any chance that this, in order to get them a second season of this, and with the Inhumans being as bad as we think it's going to be, we might finally get the crossover with Punisher kills the Inhuman Universe?
No.
With it.
And that's how we bring all the worlds together.
Punisher killing Black Bolt would be pretty funny.
Your series gets canceled by Punisher killing you?
Yes.
It's one way to go out.
It's called Street Justice, Joe.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't hate it. I don't foresee. I would love to see it. I don't see them doing it though.
That's how Community ended.
I didn't watch like the Yahoo season of Community. Did it?
How it ended?
No, Punisher
okay.
not come on to Community and kill everybody.
I don't know. I didn't watch the Yahoo season. Did you? Did you guys?
No.
No.
Also, how much would people hate working with John Barenthal then? Hey, guess who's joining the show next season?
Who?
John Barenthal.
Oh shit.
Oh God.
So John Barenthal's Marvel's HR essentially. He's
Yes.
like the guy you don't want to see walk in the
This is
office.
gonna be a great season. Really gonna go out with a bang.
Literally.
All right. Good working with you.
Speaking of getting axed and going out with a bang, Netflix founders wants to cancel more shows like he did with Senses and The Get Down. Netflix founder Reed Hastings believes the streaming service needs to take more chances with its original programming, and in doing so, that means you take huge risks. Some of them, like 13 Reasons Why, go off really well, and then you can give it a second season. But if we're taking the right amount of chances, that also means that our cancellation rate of our original shows should be higher. And you are starting to see this now with some Netflix shows, as in Marco Polo was the first Netflix show to not get a resolution to it. At least when Netflix had canceled shows previously, they gave it a third and final season. Now you have Senses, which just got axed without giving it a proper resolution, and The Get Down wasn't even renewed. It was the first Netflix show not to be renewed for a season 2.
I wonder if a Netflix show had a really bad season 1, like let's say they thought it was going to be good, they released it and just had a terrible reception. Do you think they'd ever take it down? Just be like, yeah, we're just not even going to let you access it because we don't want people to see how shit it is.
If it's what it is for after some stuff gets bad, they just put it in not their algorithm or whatever so that it doesn't pop up on the top page
Unless you search for it or something.
Yeah, you have to like search for it. I think that's usually how they do it.
Yeah, I think the only way they'd ever remove something off the actual streaming service's original content is if for some reason, and this is more of a technical problem than anything else, they needed the server space.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
We get to that point, yeah, where Netflix is like, sorry, server's full, got to delete some stuff.
I mean,
Let's see, what should we delete? Okay, Arrow's got a season 4. Okay, wipe that out. And all right, we got a few more megs.
a few more megs. In other TV news, there's a Sin City TV series in the works with former Walking Dead showrunner and Underworld director helming it. Glenn Maraza is working on the show Sin City with Len Wiseman, who directed the Underworld movies. I actually like the idea of a Sin City TV show. This is a show that if it was on Netflix would actually have me excited. If you did like a 6-episode series or a 6-episode season every once in a while, all in black and white, kind of crossing over like they do in there, you could get as wild and outlandish as you did in some of the movies, and it wouldn't need to be a big moneymaker, and I wouldn't hold it to a higher standard then, if that makes any sense. If it's like a 6-episode show on Netflix, it's not. I don't hold it to as high of a standard if I'm going to pay like $15 at a movie theater to go see this.
I guess I would have liked to have had it happen without the movies having happened, if that makes sense. That way I already have that in my mind. I did enjoy watching the movies already, but
yeah.
that style was awesome. After reading the books and then seeing that, it's like, oh, it was cool seeing those things like ripped right from it. So they can't do the same thing for this. So I don't know what it's going to look like. Could be cool, though. It would work well in a miniseries like that or something.
I think it's specifically meant for a miniseries. I think it works out perfectly. It also slightly bothers me that I can't think about Len Wiseman about anything other than the Underworld
Love Triangle? Yeah, the Underworld Love Triangle.
World Love Triangle.
I don't remember.
Joe, can you play this out for
I mean, I'm familiar with Underworld.
So I did a little bit of research a couple years ago, and Sam and I were seeing, what was it, like the 4th Underworld movie or whatever in theaters?
Yeah.
And I came to find out that Kate Beckinsale was, help me with the Sheen name, because we always say the wrong Sheen.
Not Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Not Martin Sheen.
Is it Michael Sheen?
Michael Sheen.
Okay.
Michael Sheen.
So Kate Beckinsale is dating and has a child with Michael Sheen when she arrives to the set of Underworld. But by the time Underworld is released, she's married to Len Wiseman.
Who directed it?
Yes.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Interesting filming dynamics.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but
Tour, his directing style is Steal Your Girl.
Wow.
his directing style is Steal Your Girl. I would love to see.
Too.
Yeah. I would love to see.
About when I think of him is
Steal Your Girl.
Yeah.
I would love to see a behind-the-scenes documentary of that movie, just to see what happened on the day-to-day filming of it.
Or the commentary track just gets really passive aggressive.
That would be.
Kate, here, you're fighting with Michael. You've done that before, right? Right?
It's just Michael sitting down. He's like, now, the only problem I had working with Weissman was he wouldn't tell me what he wanted in the shot, but I knew what he wanted after the take. It was to fuck my girlfriend. Mother of my child.
And Wiseman's like, see, you can see clearly in this scene there's zero chemistry between these two.
Our final headline of the day, there is an Animaniacs reboot reportedly in the works. IndieWire reports that Warner Brothers Animation and Amblin Television are developing a new version of the beloved 90s cartoon after its recent surge in popularity on Netflix. Steven Spielberg, who developed the original, is expected to work on the reboot as well, but so far it has not been confirmed if any of the voice actors are returning. Yes, they are all still alive and still are all very prominent voice actors. But it is apparently in the works. This is something that Ron Paulson, who voiced Yakko Warner, talked about a couple of years ago when Animaniacs came on to Netflix, was the possibility of a revival series. You know what? This is, in my personal opinion, like the second golden age of Warner Brothers Animation was when the Animaniacs cartoon came out and spun off and launched a whole line of other cartoons to follow it. Do you think that would work in today's day and age, or do you think we're going to get some sort of weird, 3D CGI, them in the real world where, they're cartoons and they're interacting with real-world people, almost kind of how the cartoon was, but a more realistic meta version of it?
I think the biggest thing you're going to hit a snag with is Animaniacs was one of those shows that was almost like the perfect storm in terms of comedy, intelligence, ability to be funny for adults and for kids, and also educational too. There's a lot of information there. I don't think you're going to be able to make that concoction again right now.
Even if you have the same people working on it?
I mean, maybe if you have the same writers and everybody working on it, but I think if you have the same voice actors working on it, I don't think that really matters.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, but they know those characters and how they developed over time, dude.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
part of them.
Sure.
I mean, when I think of these characters, I hear a certain voice, so I'd like to hear those voices there. Otherwise, I would personally not resonate that's that character.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you maybe change the design or something. Well, we're going to take a look at Wonder Woman's history here coming up in just a second. Actually, we're going to do it now. I've got nothing else on the show.
Look,
Sweet.
up in the air. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Three Wise Radio.
Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman.
All the world is waiting for you and the power you possess. In your satin tights, fighting for your rights and the old red, white, and blue.
Wonder Woman.
What is this place? Who are you?
It is our sacred duty to defend the world.
Right. Whoever you are in more danger than you think.
Be careful, Diana. If no one else will defend the world, then I must. I am Diana of Themyscira, daughter of Hippolyta. In the name of all that is good, your wrath upon this world is over.
With Wonder Woman in theaters, we thought we'd take a look back at the history of Wonder Woman in our version of Better Know a Hero.
Probably got the most variation in her origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Oh, yeah. She has actually... Well, yes.
In Batman, the parents die.
Yes,
For
okay.
sure.
You talking about from, the exact origin itself. I mean, growing up and, what the character does and what they stand for to a certain extent, I think has changed throughout history. Batman almost as much as Wonder Woman because he gets comical and then he gets serious again and he gets gothic and he gets supernatural and realistic.
in that term, but I think in his, well, I'm saying in a more, not so much the Elseworld takes, but like the specific take, like the specific origins of her, I believe there's at least like 3 key ones.
Yep.
Are always in flux, whereas Batman and Superman, it's pretty much one, and then maybe a little extra, like with what happens on Krypton specifically, or things like that. But it's Mob. I can't find him. He's an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's kind of funny because Wonder Woman comes about in 1940 as William Moulton Marston's. Basically, he criticizes DC Comics for not having a female superhero or a female person for women to look up to. And they, instead of, all right, then you come up with one and we'll publish it. And from there, to a certain extent, Wonder Woman is born. And he uses a lot of his own real life experiences to a certain extent with women to develop the Amazonians and to develop Wonder Woman herself. One of the ones that's a correlation to his direct life is actually the lasso of truth. The guy invented the lie detector. So he, of course, was going to have his version of a superhero carrying around a lie detector nonstop, which I always found kind of funny. But the original incarnation of Wonder Woman is the fact that she is made by clay. Her mother, she's made from clay by her mother, and blessed by the god Aphrodite. And then from there, Steve Trevor's plane crashes onto Themyscira, and I'm having trouble holding this book and talking at the same time. That's why.
In World War Dos.
Correct, World War II.
Can I just say real quick, while you can manage your book, that I do think it's a great power play. It's great management power play by DC Comics when somebody's like, there's not a female character. Okay, make one. Like, that's a great management tactic too. If somebody's complaining about something, it's like, yep, go ahead. All right, you do it, and it's fine. Go ahead and fix this problem.
It's a win-win.
Yep. It's like,
yeah.
We'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So World War II, Steve Trevor's plane crashes on there, and actually the Amazonians want to kill Steve Trevor because no man is allowed on the island. But what Wonder Woman does is she bests all of her sisters in a battle to save his life, and then afterwards goes back with Steve to win the war. And we see this happen a lot. And as people know, the current movie takes place in World War I, post, in the original series 2 of Wonder Woman with Linda Carter, the first season takes place in World War II, and then time jumps to modern day. So Wonder Woman's roots are very much rooted, like Captain America's, being connected to the war itself. It's why she has that kind of Star-Spangled Banner costume that looks very American flaggish to a certain extent.
It's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah.
Not to go back, but I am now stuck in my mind just wishing that she did have a golden polygraph with her instead. So it's like, oh, I'll get the truth out of you. Just give me 5 minutes to set this up and then clip this thing on your finger. Sit
It
still.
could be a little lasso that loops around the finger.
What is your name?
Hold on, I have to calibrate.
And
Don't clench your butt. I know that'll throw off the readings.
Is that a rule for?
Yes.
It is for lie detectors?
Yeah, you do that on all your lies, and or you do it on all your positives.
but you clench your sphincter on when you tell the truth?
Yes, because then it makes it look like a lie, but then if you're just saying your name, then that looks like a truth. So then on all your lies, then you just let it go, and then they can't get a good determining reason or determination if you're telling the truth or not.
So, guys, we all learned a little bit about Wonder Woman.
At least so I hear.
Thanks, Charlie. This is why you're here. No, and Wonder Woman's, in the beginning, Wonder Woman's Rogue Gallery is not the same Rogue Gallery that we see today. When we get to the New 52, you'll kind of see the Rogue Gallery that I think is going to be more fleshed out to a certain extent in the movies and in modern takes. But the original Rogue Gallery it's where the Dr. Poison that's in the movie comes from, is from the original Rogue Gallery. There was also a Dr. Psycho and, of course, Cheetah. But the original incarnation of the Cheetah is not how we know the Cheetah as today either. It was basically after meeting this woman at a charity event. She adopted a costume and identity of a cheetah and then stole the charity's money. So
So it was Catwoman.
Bamboozled.
basically,
Yes.
yes. And this goes on throughout the golden age of comics. It's her just fighting and tying up. And by the way, someone is tied up in every issue, because in originally the only way to stop Wonder Woman was to tie her up.
She has to be bound.
Yes. And if she's bound, then
She lost her powers if you did that.
yes. I mean, man, it was the early comics. I think Green Lantern's first rendition is he was weak every time he just saw the color yellow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
would at one point, right? For
Yeah, I believe so.
what's the one?
Because it's organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because who is he fighting? I think it's like Swamp Thing or something.
Oh, that's a blowout.
But anyway, Wonder Woman's origins, as we talked about, change all the time, it seems like. And they change again in the Silver Age. In the Silver Age, the character's revamped, courtesy of some new writers. And in the very first revamp, the issue retold the story of the contest that we talked about, of how that the contest to save Steve Trevor's life. But in this, it is initiated by Athena, and Wonder Woman is sponsored by her mother. And basically, the person who is going to sent to be the representative of Themyscira in man's world now. Instead of saving Steve Trevor's life, it's more of a, you're going to be our ambassador to man's world, and we need to know that you can handle yourself in man's world. And she meets Steve when she is now abroad, traveling.
Gotcha.
After the actual contest has taken place, as opposed to him crash landing.
Okay.
All right, now on to the next one then.
Sorry.
It's a mild tweak, but it's a fairly significant one.
Yeah.
Well, how's this for a significant tweak then? This actual storyline then continues all the way up until Wonder Woman number 178, when Wonder Woman says, you know what, be damned my powers, be damned my Amazonian heritage. I'm going to lose the costume, and I'm going to become a spy and learn kung fu. Yes, in 1978, Carmine Infantone wanted to rejuvenate what had been perceived as a tired Wonder Woman, and so he assigned Denny O'Neil of Batman fame to kind of spark up the Wonder Woman series, and Danny O'Neil came up with the Secret Agent Wonder Woman. In basically the very first issue, she denounces her heritage. She tells her mother to basically go F herself, and then goes out into man's world to try and fight crime with only kung fu and no powers. And she does this for 5 years.
She denounces her powers, and so they go away.
Yes.
So it's like a situation in The Office where Michael Scott just yells out, "I declare bankruptcy," and it just happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know you could do that. I was unaware of this saga.
I wouldn't mind getting an animated movie out of it.
Well, and what happens, what basically goes and creates this tiff is that Steve Trevor is wanted for murder, and she's like, no, he's not a murderer, he's a good man, and they lock him up anyway. And she's like, well, I've lost all faith in man's world. I have to fight the man's world under the radar.
With kung fu.
Yeah.
Where does she learn kung fu?
From her, what is his name? It's a really bad name.
And
It is a Chinese man. Hang on. Ching.
Steven Seagal.
She learns martial arts from Ching.
Ching?
Ching.
Does it make sense? I assume he's a master.
He is. He's a very good master.
All right.
There are a few bad masters.
There are a few bad masters. We've seen bad masters.
How do you
Evil
spell
masters, yes. There's not many just bad.
How do you spell that?
Ching?
Wait, is that his first and his last name?
Yes.
Or
His first name is I. His last name is Ching.
is it just I or what?
It is just I. The capital I.
Ching.
Oh.
Okay.
It was not a good time for them.
It just sounds like all I can think in my head is somebody speaking to like the gorillas in Congo. It's like Ching, me Charlie,
bad gorilla.
Amy, gorilla.
Oh, now wouldn't that be an interesting take? The whole time he's just saying, "I Ching." Yes, I'm Wonder Woman. All right, let's get to work. No.
Ching.
It is also it's also right before this time that she takes up the mantle of Diana Prince. And one of the things I forgot to mention was in the Silver Age, because of course Clark Kent is a reporter and Batman's a millionaire. she needs an alter ego, and an alter ego needs a day job, correct? Because she can't be Wonder Woman 24/7. So do you know what day job she has in the Silver Age?
Zookeeper.
Probably something real progressive.
She
and
runs
not demeaning at all.
She runs a floral boutique.
Oh, that's nice.
Damn. Exactly the opposite of my guess.
So
Is it like a little shop?
it's a
like
little shop. It's a little tiny shop, yeah.
It's cute.
I bring that up because towards the end of this Secret Agent run, there was a special women's lib issue of Wonder Woman 203. And there was a big banner across it that said, Special Women's Lib. And in this controversial issue, one of her boutique assistants is kidnapped by, a bunch of men, basically. And
Pulling the heist on this
Yes.
flower boutique.
well, she's kidnapped because she's part of a women's liberation group.
Ah,
Jesus.
And
all
she's
coming together.
kidnapped by a rich department store owner named Philip Grande.
Philip Grande. Okay.
And basically hang on, sorry, this is too ridiculous. So it's kind of like, you know how every superhero and bad guy has that kind of one-off of, hi, I'm so-and-so, you're so-and-so, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happens here as well, because there's a side plot where he tries to make himself look like a good guy by hiring Diana to almost carry a full line of women's lib clothing in her floral boutique.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really weird. Anyway,
Philly G.
okay, I'm gonna read straight from this because this is just my brain is all over the place with this one. When Philip Grande, a rich
Solution about this thing, right? About the kidnapping?
yeah.
Okay, good.
When Philip Grande, a rich department store owner, paid Diana to model his new liberated women clothing line, Kathy's group, which is the lady who gets kidnapped, advised against it. They explained how Grande paid off his all-female staff poor wages and bought goods from sweatshops. They asked Diana to join their cause. After Grande paid thugs to break up the group and abduct Kathy, Wonder Woman did help the group and brought Grande to justice, though it was a mixed victory. A contingent of ladies stormed into a group meeting to complain how Wonder Woman's actions had closed Grande's store and left many women unemployed. And the story was supposed to have a long, year-long follow-up, but it changed immediately because of the backlash to this issue. And within 6 months, she basically becomes the Wonder Woman you know and love again. She goes back to Themyscira and reunites with her mother after her Chinese mentor Ching is assassinated. She gets hit by another bullet, and it knocks her unconscious. And she then is transported to Themyscira, and the Amazons restore her memory and say, hey, you're Wonder Woman again. She's like, great, I'm Wonder Woman again.
But every now and then, on nights where she can't sleep.
Walks past the boutique late at night.
Yes. No, I'd say she has flashbacks.
Of boutiquing.
Yes.
The actual,
And being a secret agent.
The funny thing about that is that doesn't sound like an extremely outrageous comic.
Yeah.
The Women's Lib one, it actually makes sense because at the end, it's like, yeah, I did this good thing, but then there's other people that are like, hey, everything's not black and white. There's actually lots of ramifications to things that are done, and you have to look into those as well. Like, oh, this is garbage. Right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. That was
I don't write this stuff.
That it takes place in a flower shop versus department store battle.
Yes.
The guy with the last name Grande. It's not a great selling point, but
Yeah.
the content is strong.
It was there. It was there.
Cool. So great origins.
Yes, she always has great origins. So they tried to they realized that they've gone wrong with Wonder Woman in the past. So when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and every major superhero gets, for essentially the first time, a relaunch to where their whole origins are rewritten to a certain extent. Batman's origins are retold to get more of that darker tone. Superman's origins start over from the beginning to put it more in modern day, but keep a lot of the same elements. Wonder Woman's origins get a complete fresh start because now they actually start including actual Greek mythology with the Crisis on Infinite Earths update. The post-Crisis Wonder Woman actually has starting to have Greek mythology sprinkled in throughout time. They discover that basically the Amazons are offshoots of Zeus and the Greek gods, and he created them. And while she's still molded from clay here, it is Zeus who pumps life into her and bestows upon her all of the powers and traits that Wonder Woman has.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what the kind I like best. Well, no, maybe not.
We'll get to it when we get to the New 52. That's
It's also the first time, which is a big point of the New 52, where we see Ares actually as a Wonder Woman villain. And you see a lot of the new Greek gods become villains and everything else. And it's wordy because comics in the 80s were very wordy. So it takes like a half hour to read 25-page comic, but the undergoing storylines are actually very good, minus the fact where she was made from clay. I've never liked that Wonder Woman origin. I always thought that was a little weird.
Well, thank goodness they fixed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they fixed it in the New 52 how, Sam?
That they did. So 2000, I think this is Charlie, you and I's favorite rendition of Wonder Woman. I've said it multiple times.
Although I'm getting swayed by the spy version a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty compelling. I'd have to see how Ching carries it. It's pretty competitive. So in 2001 with the New 52, it's like the full-on reboot. We get one of the best comics out of the reboot.
Never mind.
What?
I was going to say 2011.
What did I say?
2001.
Yeah, 2011.
Saying, damn, it's been a long time. It's like, never mind. No, it has not yet.
You're right. 2011. You get the reboot. Brian Azzarello takes control of Wonder Woman, and we get one of the best 30-issue arcs in history. Starts out the same way it normally does with the story of the clay origins. This time, I think the most compelling part for me, it's heavily steeped in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
The gods are around, they're present, spiteful, petty. The big things that make those gods so interesting is that how cruel and awful they all are. We come to discover that the reason the clay story was told is because Wonder Woman is essentially the daughter of Zeus, straight up daughter of Zeus and her mother Hippolyta. And so they gave that story so that Hera wouldn't kill her. The wife of Zeus wouldn't do what she always does, killing bastard children.
Or just that's weird because Zeus never just bangs it out with lots of people in Greek mythology.
Right. Such a bizarre take.
He's celibate, I thought, actually.
Hera is actually a master child assassin at this point, I would believe, from repeat attempts at killing. And the most important part about this, which I think is why I like this Wonder Woman so much, is that she's deeply engrossed with the god War. He trained her as a child. He kind of brought her up with that Amazonian mentality. Mm-hmm. And it's the idea of Wonder Woman is all about passion, whether that be good or bad, whether that be love or hate or anger. That's what's most compelling about her, which we will get to when we do our review eventually. But that's a very interesting take, and essentially the majority of it takes place off of Mount Olympus, and it's in the real world, but everything is involving mythology and things like that. So you essentially have that kind of run around avoiding gods, things like that. Mm-hmm. What have I missed from that kind of origin, Charles?
No, that pretty much sums up the origin. That run is just awesome, though. The art is sweet. All the interpretations of all the different gods, and I don't know, they're not all like the stereotypes of what those gods normally are, especially with like Hades and Poseidon and stuff, but they're all really cool, and I don't know, it's just awesome.
Unfortunately, with Rebirth, which has been happening over the last year, Wonder Woman is currently in a state of mind where she doesn't know which one of her origins is true. So as soon as Rebirth hit, she realizes, and sorry, spoiler alert if you're going to read it, don't bother listening to this for the next 20 seconds, but she becomes the god of war.
And I always thought that was dope.
Yeah, it's super cool. But in Rebirth now she's saying, but the first casualty of war is truth, and so I stand for truth, so I can't be the goddess of war, right? So she starts having a complete mental breakdown, not knowing what her real origin is. She uses the lasso on herself, which then deactivates the lasso, so she can't use it anymore, realizing that she has no idea who or what she actually is, because all of the stories of her existence are
melding
and no longer true.
Oh,
so
wow.
right now she's kind of psychotic and trying to figure out who she is and what everything is,
And
which plays along with the rebirth. So we don't know what her current origin is.
And I think that's a good something to do. Is you pointed it out. You love the Azzarello line, and it's in a fantastic story. Is that Wonder Woman? We talked about earlier how she's changed history so much throughout the ages. She's almost the perfect example of a character that you can just pick up a time area and read it, and then that is your Wonder Woman. You don't need the past history, because it's, in a sense, they do with this character what we say they should do with comics, is like every 15 years, boom.
Just redo it.
Yeah, start fresh, and here's your story now.
Yeah, it helps when you're quasi-immortal.
Well, yes.
It's easier to bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's her current ongoing take. Again, my highest recommendation for that. We will get more into it in the review of the movie, but there's also been a ton of different interpretations in Elseworld tales, lots of different reimaginings. Garrett, you got any of those fun facts to share with us?
So I just picked out a couple of them.
The good ones.
What's the good ones? Flashpoint, Wonder Woman. It's probably one of the more well-known Elseworld stories. But essentially a lot of the same origins, but she meets Aquaman young, like as a child, and they kind of have like a growing friendship throughout their developing lives, to the point where they're on the verge of getting married, but that gets screwed up by some other Atlanteans.
Little classic Romeo and Juliet situation.
She kills Mera, I believe, in that storyline.
Oh yeah.
So petty.
After an Atlantean kills Hippolyta, she seeks revenge and kills Mera.
And then they're at war.
Yep.
And I think that's a great way of putting it, too, because another one is she comes from an island of all women. So it's always, when you have this standout woman like that, it's who is her equal, because in original stories and comics, it's always, well, you always have to have a love interest. You always have to have a love interest for someone. Well, how can you have a love interest for Wonder Woman? So it's always kind of fun to see her paired up with the different heroes throughout the ages. And Aquaman, I think, is a fairly interesting one, because you have the queen almost, or destined to be the queen of Themyscira, and the king of the sea. And what would happen if they joined together, or what would happen if they actually went to war? We always want to pair up with Batman or Superman, but to me, Aquaman, in a roundabout way, is almost the logical choice to, as far as heritage and actual storyline to go.
But the heart wants what the heart wants, Joe. Oh, I forgot to mention, really compelling part about the new 52 Wonder Woman is that it also gives a gray area for the Amazons. Like, they have male children. Like, it's not just always women all the time. They have male children, and the only reason they don't slaughter them is because Hephaestus, the forge god, agrees that I will make you guys weapons. Give me these baby boys, because the Amazonians would, whenever they'd find sailors, would essentially attack them and force themselves upon them to continue their legacy, and they would just kill the boys and just have the women. So that's an interesting kind of take on it. It's like, yeah, what do you mean everybody's just having women? Where are these babies coming from?
That is a very interesting and dark take.
Oh.
Sadly, though, the only thing that went through my head when you described that was the Futurama joke, where it's like, death by snoo. Yeah, oh.
It's like, yeah, I mean, no.
What does Hephaestus do with them? I'm guessing
he's got like an island.
Forge workers.
There's like a Themyscira, almost a ghetto Themyscira island. That's just kind of this raggedy island where all these men are living. Could be worse. Could be dead.
There's always a palm tree on fire.
That ghetto.
The burning palm tree.
Somehow one broken window.
Okay, so we have Flashpoint. We have the Injustice storyline.
She's horrible in that.
Yeah, again, a lot of the same origins on that, but she's just a really terrible human. Well, not human being, but just terrible person.
And the second one too.
In both of these, she falls to her angry rage side.
And then, but I mean, I guess that kind of goes in with the passion you were talking about earlier, where she's so just I don't want to say enthralled with Superman, but just passionately devoted to him to the point where it's like, yeah, I'll just follow you and we'll do this and set up a regime and just start killing other superheroes. to the point where, like, I think it's at the end of Injustice 1. I don't remember where exactly it falls in the timeline. But like the mainstream Wonder Woman comes in, just like, what are you doing? Like, the Wonder Woman that I know, that I am,
that is me.
that is me, would never just like blindly follow a man into doing stuff unless she knew what she was doing. So like, get your shit together.
Yeah, it's sad when they just make her into a brute because she's so old that she should have, like, it's awesome when she's the wisest out of all
An
of them.
immense amount of knowledge. Yeah.
We talk about on this cast a lot how, you know, a good, strong female character can carry a movie, but sometimes you try and make a strong female character. You actually weaken a strong female character by constantly saying that they are a strong female character.
Definitely.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If I had the time for production, Sam, this would be where I'd go and play all the clips from all of our shows of you saying something.
Man, why is this episode 4 hours long?
But we'll touch on this when we do our spoiler-free point. Our spoiler version of point 5, because it's in the movie, it's in the comics all the time. Wonder Woman is in touch with her emotions, and as a person, you are vulnerable. You do doubt yourself. You're not always putting up this front of, I am the strongest person, I can do everything, I can always do something. But it's through those doubts and that journey that you find out exactly how strong you are, and you find out that you can push your limits and test your boundaries and come out a better person. And in every rendition, even as crappy as being a spy trained by Asian assassins is, you come to find out that you can stand for something more and be a stronger person for it. And it's always rooted deep back within the war, too, of like, that's what World War II was about. It was about this generation and this country coming through and coming out the other side on a very tough time. And I find that that's always great. And I feel like that's why she's always been such a strong character, because she's always embodied what the romanticize is of the greatest generation and of this war.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Another Elseworld tale was the Just Imagine line when Stan Lee kind of took over for a little bit. They reimagined Wonder Woman as a Peruvian lady named Maria Mendoza, and Maria was a political activist, like protesting against these CEOs and the corporations trying to take over.
Convenience store CEOs?
No.
Damn it.
Doesn't give his name, but I'm going to guess Philip Grande. And they're trying to like take over like Holy Land, and so she sneaks onto the site and like kind of fights with the CEO, and it ends up like unleashing this light spirit and this dark spirit. The light spirit embodies her, the dark spirit embodies the CEO, and then she goes into hiding to like hide herself away from the dark spirit.
God, I'm glad he didn't keep riding for her.
Glad that didn't stick, but all right.
Yeah. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was the Bombshells iteration, where, you know, it does take place in World War II to kind of a different reimagining, you know. But yeah, it's words. Words are failing me right now.
Words are hard.
Yeah. But she kind of like dons a different costume, inspired by like the pinups that were on the missiles and stuff that they would put on, you know, because she saw that as them being like worshipped as war goddesses. And so she's like, I like that. I'm going to take that.
That's cool.
So.
No, that's great. Another one we've mentioned on the show before is the Earth One. I love the fact that she's a product of violence, and it kind of shows you why she is such against violence, is because she is a child of rape, and it gives the Clay story a meaning in the sense of it's a lie you tell a little child maybe to protect them from what it is they come from. I mean, there's some really human stuff that you don't even need to dig that far to find in Wonder Woman, and some great stories. But the fact is that sadly she's always been the third part of the Trinity, the third tier of the Trinity behind Batman and Superman. So DC not getting off their asses for 70 plus years to make a film about her. All this stuff is left, you know, not to the casual reader. It unless you're really into comics and you know Wonder Woman, you don't know all this cool stuff about her.
Last thing I'll ask: Wonder Woman, does she fly? Yes or no?
I like it when she does, but
I personally do not like when she can fly.
I don't either.
I don't like the jet though.
Neither do I. Okay, yes, I was going to talk about that. I don't like the jet, and I don't like when she can fly. I almost like the Doomsday scenario is what I call it because that's the first time I heard about it. Or the original Superman is where you leap tall buildings in a single bound, basically.
She can jump
I'm
so
fine
far
with
that
that, though,
essentially she
too.
can quick travel.
Yeah, and to the naked eye, it can appear as flying.
Or
I
she
just don't
uses
like
a-
when I see her floating. So I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And how?
Yeah, well, Superman's got a cape, so I'm like, well, he's got that cape.
No,
So that's-
Superman.
he's fine.
It's
Well,
because the
she's got, like,
gravity's
the
lighter. The gravity is lighter, and the air isn't as dense, so that's how he can float. And
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
like swimming.
for sure. I mean, that makes total sense. That's grounded in science.
Yes, it is. I can prove that. With
What
a
if she used the
scientist.
lasso and swung like Spider-Man?
There's like a helicopter.
So, real quick, pick up the Azzarello run. How many volumes of that is there?
It's 30 issues. I think you can go through the whole thing in. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 like trade paperbacks that you can get, but you can buy the first one, and they're not that expensive.
And they actually have, I don't remember what it was called, but the Forever Evil one that is relevant to the series because it was just like a background issue on Ares, I think, for their Forever Evil, like those one shots and
it's
stuff.
her
They
being
have
trained by
a
him.
Cheetah one and an Ares one, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great run. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, it's super good. Definitely one of the best runs I've ever read just in comics. It's awesome. And the artwork is sweet.
Hi, my name is Three Wise Radio.
Hi, Three Wise Radio.
As usual, we end every episode with what's piquing our interest, or we just say what's piquing our interest. Garrett, what's piquing your interest this week?
Man, honestly, it's Wonder Woman. The movie was good. I liked it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I don't want to go into detail because we're going to go into detail here in a bit. So, for the .5.
Fair enough.
So,
All right. Charlie, what's piquing your interest this week?
I don't know. Sam, what's piquing your interest really quick?
I know what mine is.
All right,
I'm
Sam, what's
happy to
yours?
share. Piquing my interest besides the ever-present approaching dark universe, minus Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. Piquing my interest was a back and forth. Katie Couric apparently has a show. Does she have a show? She's got like a morning talk show now.
Isn't it
but
called Today?
Gal Gadot, I think is actually how it's pronounced. Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Was on it, and they essentially got into an online battle with Chris Hemsworth, essentially saying like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure Wonder Woman could kick Thor's ass." And
Be a
it's
good
fun to
fight,
have a
though.
little back and forth, to which Chris Hemsworth replied, "I agree." She would kick Thor's ass. So nice to see a little nice back and forth from people. I mean, I personally agree with that statement, but I like that there was a friendly little
Oh, okay. I got
fun
one.
there.
I mean, Chris Hemsworth, like, if he wasn't Thor already, you could clean cut him a little bit, and he wouldn't have made a bad Steve Trevor, in all honesty, either.
No.
Hemsworth wouldn't make a bad anything.
That's, yes. Now, the others, yeah, they would.
Do
but-
Booster Gold.
He could booster.
You should do Booster Gold.
Someone should do
Thor,
Booster.
All right.
I'm going Booster Gold.
So we've got, here's your choice. What are we doing? I mean, I know where you're at. It's
Yeah.
either Chris Hemsworth as Booster Gold or John
Yeah.
Cena as Shazam. What's
Yeah,
the pick?
You don't have to ask me. I mean, you just know. You can read my face tattoo.
It's a Cena for Shazam.
I can't see it.
Well, yeah,
I'm,
it's
I'm
an
assuming it's
invisible
just,
ink.
I'm assuming it's just John Cena.
Yeah.
It's an invisible ink, and it only comes to fruition when he
Sure.
rubs his hand
Yeah.
across his face.
Yeah.
He actually has the Harry Potter electric bolt, and people ask him if it's for Harry Potter. But if you actually look behind his head, he's got John Cena chucking bolts of lightning. All right. Yeah.
So things I like is there's something that's piquing my interest.
and
is
keep the fucking shows right.
sorry, piquing my interest is sweet scenes with really strong women in DC movies just beating the shit out of normal people in scenes where they're going real quick and the other people just get decimated because it's happened twice now and both scenes have been really fucking sweet.
What's the other scene where a lady beats up?
Feora with those soldiers?
Oh, yeah.
Is one of the best parts of that movie. Is
She pinballs across the
yeah, she just like punches their heads off.
Black Lightning could probably take a note because, again, it seems to just be a superpowered person just beating up random people that don't have any powers.
All right, what's piquing my interest this week is 17 years after Eminem first released Stan, it is actually being entered into the Oxford English Dictionary. According to Oxford, Stan can now be both a verb and a noun, as it denotes an overzealous or obsessed fan of a particular celebrity. So now, according to our actual English language, you can use the word stan to describe a person or say they are standing a certain celebrity.
So if we have any fans who want to stan us,
yeah. I mean, it's official. Like, I know that was a great segue, Garrett, but I want to, like, throw out there that a name can now, this is the Oxford English Dictionary. So this isn't me talking out of my ass.
I know.
This is literal stuff. You can now say you are standing someone.
That's so...
Yeah, I do feel like the dictionaries are getting a little loose with the words that they've been letting to the dictionary over the last couple of years. I think they're trying to be trendy.
Well, you're just not lit enough, fam.
You stab on me?
You know what's sad?
Oh, no.
Charlie, in like 5 years, that'll probably be the Queen's proper English or something, what you just said.
Oh, if only.
All right, I'm done.
But we're not. We're coming to you this Saturday with a full spoiler rendition of the Wonder Woman movie, where we'll go in depth and break down the actual Wonder Woman movie events. So if you haven't gone out and seen it yet, well, ours will pop up Saturday, so you'll get a chance. And you can get in your comments and questions about the film as well. You can email us at threewiseradio@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at threewiseradio or on Facebook at threewisemedia. Our sister podcast is Movie Versus. And Charlie, when does that come out?
Thursdays.
Good man.
It goes out at midnight Wednesday night, I believe. Most times it's auto set to release then.
Also want to give a special shout out to our friends over at Good Bad or Bad Bad and Beyond the Blast Doors as well, which just started a clothing line. I bought a baseball tee. You should check it out.
Who did?
Beyond the Blast Doors. They started a clothing line. I bought a baseball tee.
Nice.
So pretty swanky stuff there. We'll see you next week.
Three Wise Radio is a production of Three Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.